If you have been anywhere on the internet in the past 3 years, you will have definitely heard this song. This is the 2022 hit End of Beginning by artist Joe, who you might know better as actor Joe Keery, or as his hugely popular character of Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. But he is far from the only one from Netflix to make music. His co-stars Finn Wolfhard, Maya Hawke,
Lucy wants to write the next great American novel. She can't even read the bottle.
and Jamie Campbell Bower.
I've been dreaming of a rise. I've been longing for a home.
All have a music career, and it's not just a Stranger Things, thing. We can see this all over Netflix, with Dylan Minnette from 13 Reasons Why being in the band Wallows. And before I get ahead of myself, I know that there has been a long history of actor-musicians, and both careers tend to go hand in hand. But I do think something different is definitely happening here. It's like we are in a new era of these actor-musicians. Their acting history doesn't seem to be holding them back like it used to, and there seems to be less baggage from their acting, and ultimately, they seem to be being taken much more seriously than past actor-musicians have been. Of Joe and Joe Keery, they seem to be doing better thanks to their acting, and maybe saying that is an understatement. Whilst the track End of Beginning was a popular song with its original release in 2022, it has reached new heights, in no small part thanks to the release of Stranger Things Series 5, and with that being the final season, it does make sense why the song has become more popular, with him featuring in it. In fact, the track has made its way to Billboard's Global Top 200, where it is currently beating Taylor Swift to be number 1, something that has proven to be quite the challenge for most new songs recently. It is fitting that this song of all songs has made it to number 1 off the back of Stranger Things, as in 2024, Keery spoke to Variety on the meaning of the song and how it felt relevant to him, yet again, as the then upcoming final season of the show was getting ever closer. It's about what it means to grow up and look back at a section of your life and kind of yearn for that, but then also have a deep appreciation for what happened, Keery says. Adding of Stranger Things, it's kind of a similar thing I was going through when I was looking back at my time in Chicago. It's like the end of a period of my life.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I see it.
This time in Chicago that he talks about here is likely referring to his time at DePaul University, where he was a founding member of the band Post Animal. He would later part ways with the band in 2018 to focus on acting before joining back up with the band in 2025, where the band would also open for him as Joe at some of his shows. Whilst this is a case of a Netflix star jumping from music to acting as they see fit, in the case of Dylan Minnette and the band The Wallows, we see someone who purposely moves away from acting to focus on music instead, and what that ultimately might mean for him and the band.
But I get up from asking, are you bored yet? And if you're feeling lonely, you should tell me.
The Wallows is a band that was originally founded in 2011 by 4 students at Join the Band, a music studio in Van Nuys, before they became the Wallows in 2017. They were called The Fever, and then the Narwhals. In fact, here is them playing a regional TV station in Santa Clara as the Narwhals at this time.
You know I can see something but remember nothing. Visions are faint and distant without love. The satisfaction is blinding and I cannot get over it. I'm leaving behind all the things I put over.
By this point, the band consisted of 3 members, Cole Preston, Brandon Lee Masters, and Dylan Minnette, and in 2017 the band released their first music under the now chosen name The Wallows. It was also in 2017 that Dylan Minnette would go on to star in the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why. Minnette would ultimately go on to become the face of the show going forward until the final season in 2020. Unlike Joe Keery, Dylan Minnette was a child actor and had been acting since he was 8. Talking to the Zach Sang show, he said quite candidly about his time spent acting and his want to play music as well. I was fortunate to find success in acting. I was on 13 Reasons Why and it was really popular and definitely reached a peak in what I had in acting. But it also started to feel like a bit of a job. And I was in a very fortunate position. It was always fun for me, always really inspiring, but then it was just starting to feel like a job. I feel like I'm in a position now where I can just kind of like do that for a while and get this, farthest it can be. The only way that that's gonna happen is if I put my 100% time and energy into it and take it very seriously and show the world that we can take this very seriously. This is a real band. We're going to do real band things. The idea that he mentions here of being taken seriously as a band is ultimately a difficult thing that these musicians must accept when it comes to their additional success from acting. It's very difficult to stand up and perform on stage and for people not to see you as Clay Jensen or Steve Harrington. But particularly in the case of these two, I think that they have done well to step aside from their well-known acting roles and ultimately focus on their music. And yet, it still has to be answered. Why is there such a high number of actors getting into music at the moment? And why are they finding this success? I think a lot of it has to do with the rise of lo-fi music and bedroom pop. It has never been more accessible to make music. Even just this month, Apple put their professional Logic Pro music making software behind the subscription made for independent creators. It is also commonplace for music to be made by individuals now, with you doing all the planning, production and post-production all by yourself. An example of this major shift that the industry has gone through would be when Paul McCartney wrote, recorded and mixed his own album, McCartney 2, in 1980. It was seen as a novelty for it to be recorded in his home and mixed by him, but ultimately, now this is commonplace. So I guess the question is less, why are so many Netflix stars making music, and more, why isn't everybody else having a go at making music? Another reason why I think these musicians do this is that it ultimately gives them more control over what they want to do. As an actor, the things that they say are mostly already determined by the script, as Joe said when he spoke to DIY about the differences between being a solo musician and in a band, as well as being an actor. I guess, being a musician, I equate it a little more to being a director, when you're in control of the whole thing, whereas if you're in an orchestra or in a group, that's more similar to being an actor. You've got this role to play and your job. At the end of the day, it is to take what the director's vision is and bring it to life. I love to do that and I love to collaborate. So this is just flexing a different muscle. It's nice to have creative control and to be able to see something through from start to finish. There is also the fact that the music is an outlet for how you yourself are feeling at a point in time. And getting a job on what would go on to be one of the biggest shows on Netflix ultimately doesn't change that, especially when you consider that the original plan was for him to not even make it past season 1 of the show, let alone to the final season 5. I started writing a lot of the songs in 2015, and basically I got Stranger Things in the summer of 2015 and 2016. It came out, and I started recording 2016, 2017. A lot was really changing. I was in this limbo of still living in Chicago but working on the show. It was this place in my life where everything was shifting beneath me. I was trying to find some solid ground and work it all out in my head, and writing those songs ended up being really helpful. In the end, some people associate Joe Keery and the song and Stranger Things so much that there was some vocal support and hope from fans to have the song play in the final episode of the show, despite it being anachronistic to the show's late 1980s setting. Another problem with having your feet in both the music and acting world is that it can lead to confusion, like when Joe Keery starred in the Tame Impala music video for the track Loser, obviously as an actor. He does, however, appear on the thumbnail for the YouTube upload of the song, which must have been confusing for fans of both artists when they saw the thumbnail appear on their page. And, as a side note, Joe is also a co-writer on the track Funny Mouth from the new Wuthering Heights film soundtrack from Charlie XCX. When speaking on the Graham Norton show this week, Joe Keery said about making music in his room and the newfound popularity of the track. It's just kind of like a confluence of all these different things. People have been using it in different ways, and it's really, to be honest with you, it is so beyond me. I'm kind of like confused about the whole thing still, and sort of shocked that like a song that you write in your bedroom can be like played by a bunch of people. When you add this fact that it has never been easier to make music to the fact that in a lot of cases these bands and musicians already have fans from their acting that will help their band grow, as well as also having a way into the industry already, which Maya Hawke even references in the track Missing Out.
For the Ivy League with my television salary, they think they look up to me, huh?
Alluding to her famous parents too.
I was born with my foot in the door, and my mind in the gutter, and my guts on the floor, holding the party line, embarrassed all the time.
It makes sense why they do it, and hey, a Netflix show can only go on for so long, no matter how hard they try, so why not have music and touring be their next thing? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you might like the one I did on the history of Vevo and how the music industry gained and lost control of the music video.